Turn up the radio and sing along. It's time for another great song. This is the Great Song Podcast.
Season's greetings. Season 5's greetings.
Season 5.
And welcome once again to the Great Song Podcast. I'm Rob Alley.
This is J.P. Mosier.
And we're here to celebrate the greatest songs in modern music history. We're going to tell you what makes them great, why we think they're awesome, and why you should too. JP, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I love kickstarting these seasons.
Boy.
I'm head to toe in black because today we are covering the Man in Black.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny freaking... That's actually his middle name.
Middle name. It's F. It stands for freaking.
We've been to his gravesite.
That's right.
It says Johnny freaking
There's an R
Cash.
in its place, but...
That's true. Okay, fine.
And it actually says John R. Cash.
John R. Cash. We're going to talk about that. I don't know if
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the name. Okay. Man, I mean, you talk about, we say it every week. We're going to talk about the greatest songs in modern music history. They really don't come much more iconic than Ring of Fire. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of your, great, like, lyrical... It's not super complex. There's nothing complex about this song, but great it is.
If you like trumpets, you love Ring of Fire.
This song has everything. What's the guy's name on Saturday Night Live? Stefan. This song has everything.
That's good.
Mariachi trumpets, Johnny Cash.
That's good.
Rings of Fire.
That's right. Flames.
Yeah, this has everything. You go down, 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 and the flames get higher.
By the way, the first line, it says, love is a burning thing. Which everyone knows except for me. I straight up saying love is a burning flame a minute ago, and Rob's like, nope.
If you're gonna miss, I mean, if thing is worth 10 points,
Flame's 8.
We get you 5 to 7.
Okay, cool. I'm in the ballpark.
It's not that big of a miss.
I sing this song every year on Thanksgiving. So me and my dad go down to the Waffle House and we play the Ring of Fire on the jukebox. Dad, this is for you. Every year
funny.
We've done it for who knows how long. We play this and Waffle Doo Wop. So, and we pay the extra to get it jumped up in the jukebox where you can do now in these digital ages.
You can hop over what's coming next?
If you put $1 in, you get 5 songs, or you can jump yours by up to the top.
way.
You can be like, oh, I'm putting all $1 on Ring of Fire.
That is classism.
So it's wonderful.
That is.
We don't want to hear 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20. No, we're going to jump and put Ring of Fire.
Wow, that is class warfare right there.
That's awesome.
Man.
But let's trumpet it up. Let's kick it off. This is for all you guys. Season 5 underway.
Season 5, let's go.
Let's do this thing. That's so rock and roll. Everything we brought with intensity just had trumpets.
Dude, Johnny Cash is so punk.
Love is a burning thing,
Wow, he emphasizes things super.
and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
That's good.
Well, I'm a whistle master.
Man.
Learned this riff actually the first time on the trumpets by my dad, playing and singing it at card night with my buddies. He just started playing the trumpet part, and I was like, what in the world, Dad? And he's like, oh, yeah, it's Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash.
Funny. That's awesome. Man, there we have it. Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, a.k.a. John R. Cash, a.k.a. J.R. Cash. Birth name of Johnny Cash was actually just initials. He was named J.R. Cash because his mother wanted to name him. I read 2 different things. His mother wanted to name him either Rivers or John, and his dad wanted to name him Ray. Is that right? I don't know. Anyway, they had a thing about they couldn't settle on a name, and so they just named him J.R. And so his given name was J.R. Cash. He changed it to John R. Cash when he enlisted in the Air Force because they would not let him use just initials. They said, you got to have a first name, kid. So he went to John R. Cash. And
I'm sure they said Kid. That's right.
Kid,
Good job
yeah.
on that. You got to have a first name Kid.
Yeah. and the rest is history. From the 1963, really, it's just a single. It wasn't on an album until the 1963 album Ring of Fire, The Best of Johnny Cash. It became an immediate, you put out a song, and then that same year you put out a Greatest Hits album, and that song is the name of the Greatest Hits album. Then it was an instant classic for you, and is indeed this is the signature song of Johnny Cash. There's a couple that are like
close.
They're close.
Jackson, Walk the Line, those compete.
Yeah, Walk the Line, and maybe even Folsom Prison Blues.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
But this is the enduring classic. It is number 87 on Rolling Stone's greatest songs of all time. Sandwiched between number 88, My Girl by The Temptations, and number 86, Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, yay.
Leapfrogging it by one spot there. It was written by June Carter Cash and Merle Kilgore. A lot of people assume that Johnny wrote this, but he probably...
Have you heard
probably did not, and we'll talk about that
controversy of who wrote this.
Stay tuned.
Wife number 2 of the Man in Black, that June Carter Cash.
That's right. And Merle Kilgore. We'll talk about him in a minute also. It went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart. Billboard Hot Country Singles, which is also the name of an app I'm working on. Number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100. That's like the conglomerate chart. This is what everybody's listening to. This was a top 20 crossover hit, which at the time for country music was a pretty big deal.
Absolutely.
I mean, still a big deal. You know what I'm saying? If Carrie Underwood crosses over into the pop chart, it's a big deal. But I think even more so then because there's like different eras of country music. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're currently in the like bro country. You know what I mean? It's like half hip hop.
Yeah, it's good. Bro country.
But then you had like stadium country, and then you had like sort of like outlaw country. You know what I mean? And Johnny Cash was definitely in that era.
Absolutely.
This era is the era prior to that where it was still like country and western. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That was sort of the real what you would call the music at the time was country and western. And so literally like we're still singing about cowboy
stuff
and the West.
The Wild West.
Yeah, we're singing the Rebel Johnny Yuma and stuff like that, which Johnny Cash was
Don't take your guns to town.
Yeah,
aka
all that
Johnny
kind
Cash.
of stuff. For a country and western song to hit the top 20 in the pop mainstream, we're still. I mean, we are firmly in the Beatlemania, right? I mean, we're 1963. We're
That's
talking
good.
about Revolver era Beatles. You know what I mean? So like up against that kind of stuff, this hit top 20. Number 4 on CMT's 100 Greatest Songs of Country Music. Number 4. I didn't look up the top 3.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
We should do that right now, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, all right. Number 80.
Pick your 3 out there in the world.
Yeah. God, who even knows? I mean, seriously, we're going to have to find that out. Yeah. It does not appear at all on the Billboard All-Time 600.
Really?
But then again, this is a chart that includes Nickelback in the top 50.
And the Macarena's in there too.
So, I don't really understand it all. One day we're going to get some answers on this. But yeah, Ring of Fire not in the all-time 600 by Billboard. Don't understand. It was originally released by Anita Carter, sister of June Carter, a.k.a. June Carter Cash, earlier in 1963 with the original title, Love's Ring of Fire. And let me tell you, we're going to listen to it. But
little different cadence, no trumpets.
Yeah, little different. And for me, I'm just going to go ahead and warn you. I don't want you to freak out like I did. The first chorus may make you feel like you're in the Willy Wonka freakout tunnel. You know what I'm talking about? That weird tunnel. That's where I found
with
myself.
The everlasting gobstopper guy face appearing.
Yeah. This is just gonna. That's right, Slugworth. Yeah.
Is gonna...
That's what happened to me personally. So like, if you're driving, just be careful.
Just listen to the way she sings "Desire" and "Fire," and you'll be like, "What?" Just
for me, it was the chorus.
Okay,
it just really got me. Here we go. Here's Anita Carter's version of "Love's Ring of Fire." Where's George Clooney? Like a
Robin
brother.
Hood and Little John walking through the forest.
Burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring, bringing her desire. I fell in the ring of fire. I fell into the burning
Nope.
ring of fire. I fell down, 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 down into the deepest mire, and it burns, 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 burns.
She adds a word everywhere. She adds an into, she adds a downs, she adds a burns.
The ring of fire.
I'm not gonna lie. I like the little flip up at the end with an extra reverb tail on it.
That
That's
holds
kind of
on.
cool. Yeah, I kind of dig that. It kind of gives me like Ghost Riders in the Sky vibes. But the rest of that, I am so glad that Johnny cut this on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When she hit that first chorus and started singing earlier than my brain said she was supposed to, I just went, "Where am I?"
Yeah.
I felt like, you ever been in one of those like weird tunnels where you're on like a walking bridge, but the room is moving around you? That's what I felt like. It was like, where is north right now? You know what I'm saying? I have no idea what up is at this moment.
I don't know if she adds syllables or if he takes away syllables. Like desire, she makes sound like more syllables than it should be, and
Yeah.
he just goes desire. Right. Far. So I don't know if he just cuts them off or she extends them. Anyway, they're completely different.
I feel like that's probably his country coming through.
That's right.
Cutting him off. Yeah.
Got to talk about the controversy of the songwriting. So, his first wife, Cash's wife, Vivian Liberto, said there's no way June Carter Cash wrote this song, and that Johnny wrote it when he was drunk one night. And said Johnny just gave her co-writing credit because she needed the money.
Right. She felt sorry for her.
Sorry for her. I debunk that because if the original recording is done by your sister, I think that gives a little credence to the fact that June wrote a little bit of it. That's my take on it. I don't know how you feel on that.
Well, the prevailing story is that June, who was then touring with Johnny Cash as a member of the famous Carter family.
Sure.
She wrote the song with Merle Kilgore after being inspired by a line from a book of poems that belonged to her uncle. She was looking through, and I think some versions I've read said that there was a line about love being like a ring of fire or something that was like underlined or dog-eared or something. And then, of course, further speculation is that the ring of fire metaphor itself was about her having these feelings for Johnny, who was kind of a hot mess of drugs and booze at the time, and they were both married, right, to other people. And that's sort of the accepted origin story of the song. But you're right, the other version of the song claims that Johnny wrote it with Merle Kilgore, but gave his credit to June because...
And if you want a lot of the story, you can watch Walk the Line with Reese Witherspoon and Joaquin Phoenix. I think they do a justice to the storyline on that.
Yeah. Johnny Cash's first wife, Vivian, made this claim in 2007 in her autobiography. So which seems a little
outdated.
What
was this?
It's like she, constant seems to paint a negative picture of June there, and that maybe the seeds were planted here as a precursor to their eventual relationship. She goes on further to say that Johnny wrote this song high on pills and alcohol about a particular bit of female anatomy. Hello.
Oh, okay.
But her account is not widely corroborated, and she may reasonably have a motive to discredit June's authorship given the rest of their story together. You know what I mean?
Backstory and everything.
You can choose to believe whichever version that you want, but the more plausible version of the origin seems to be that June wrote it.
Well, there is no debate how Johnny Cash got the song. He gave he gave Anita 5 months to make it a hit.
Yeah.
He's like, you got 5 months to make it a hit. She didn't, so he took it and had this dream where he heard Mexican trumpets playing.
Yeah.
Added it, boom, hit. So
what other songs
could you add a trumpet?
Yeah, what other songs need some mariachi trumpets on? You
man.
know what I mean, to make them a hit.
So you have to think of something that's not a hit, right?
Yeah, or something that it could be a song that people know, but like it could just be improved with a mariachi band. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I don't know, maybe like. All I can think of is stuff that already has it. I'm thinking like Smooth by Santana.
Anything by Santana.
Macarena. You know what I mean? What's
something odd that if you added it to?
Yeah. How about "You'll Be in My Heart" by Phil Collins from Tarzan? You'll be in my heart.
I was thinking of the Taylor Dane song "Love Will Bring You Back." Whatever. Love will bring you back. Complete different take on that. So
hey, let us know on Twitter.
Send us a song. We just did this off the cuff.
Yeah,
there's a better one out there. Let us know what it is.
Hit us up on Twitter at Great Song Pod or on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Great Song Pod, and let us know what
random song that in no way would ever have mariachi trumpets. You could put mariachi trumpets.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
There it is. That's a good one.
Talk to you again.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Merle Kilgore, he wanted this song to be used in an ad for Preparation H for hemorrhoids, but June Carter Cash family denied it. The fact that she has the power to deny that makes me think she had some writing credit, too.
It's true. I think that may have been after they both passed, but it was the Carter family.
Carter family,
yeah, I believe that put the kibosh on that.
Okay.
Is it kibosh or kibosh?
I don't know.
I've heard people say it
It's a
both
good
ways.
word.
I think most people say it kibosh, but I don't know.
Merle, mainly known for Hank Williams Jr. manager.
Yeah.
That was his big thing.
He was if I read correctly, he's been a forever friend of the Williams family.
Mm-hmm.
That he met Hank Williams Sr. when he was very young, and he sort of basically sort of road helped him at some point at something, and they sparked a friendship, and so even at the time of his death, he was Hank Williams Jr.'s manager, and it's kind of a big shot in the music industry. We'll get into him just a little bit more, but let's talk about the song structure and a couple of interesting. It's not necessarily theory stuff, but just kind of rhythmic things I want to talk about. I think it's interesting that the chorus repeats twice before you get to the second verse. So you get the intro hook.
The verse with thing.
And then you get the verse, love is a burning thing. And then you get the first chorus, I fell into a burning ring of fire. And then it goes back to the hook. And after the instrumental section, comes back into the chorus again. And then verse 2.
Wow.
So it goes intro, verse, chorus, intro, chorus 2, verse 2, chorus 3, and then chorus out.
How long is the song?
Not very. It's probably, let's look and see.
I wonder if they did the double chorus there to give it a little bit more length, like to make the song just a little bit more.
That is entirely possible. It seems to be, it's 2 minutes and 36 seconds.
Oh, man, yeah.
So it would have been...
Just barely past Delamitri's Roll to Me.
Yeah, which, was, common enough at the time. 2-minute songs weren't,
Yep.
That was fine. But, maybe it was, to give it some more length. I'm not sure it would have hurt anything to just go back into the verse there, but I do want to note some rhythm stuff. Let's play the intro first. So this intro is in 3/4 and 4/4 alternating time. So that means there's basically, in layman's terms, there's 3 beats to a measure and then 4 beats to a measure. And so you're getting 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And so, like, if you were actually writing that on a piece of music, you'd be tempted to just write 7/4, right? You'd say this is in 7/4, but it really comes off as 2 complete measures. And so I've seen sheets of music where you'd actually write.
So the time signature in the corner, what does it say?
It would say 3/4, 4/4.
4/4.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. And then there would be little time change indicators in the sheet music. But it would say 3/4, 4/4
That's cool.
to show that this is a pattern, right?
That's the first one of these we've done.
Yeah, we haven't talked about anything like that before. So take a listen here at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Love
Boom.
Same thing here.
burning
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
and it makes
So the verse is actually
a fiery
4/4, 3/4, 4/4. So it goes 1,
Bound
2, 3,
by
4.
wild
1,
desire.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I
1,
fell
2,
into a
3,
ring of
1,
fire.
2, 3, 4. It's kind of all over the place.
Man.
to a burning ring
So,
of fire.
and then there's a spot in the second verse.
And Johnny's just up there chunking on his guitar.
Yeah, he's
his
just
little palm
going.
mute stuff.
That's right. Yeah, just not even really playing a chord most of the time. And then in the second verse, there's a line that goes either 4/4, 3/4, 5/4, or just remains in 4/4, depending on how you want to hear
Have
it.
singing the cadence. Okay.
So I'm gonna say it's 4/4, 3/4, 5/4 because of the way everything lands.
3 and 5 equal 8 for those of y'all that are counting.
That is correct.
So
which is why you could also just say it's in 4/4
It's in 4.
and has some very strange
just when he comes in.
phraseology. Yeah. Take a listen.
When hearts like ours meet,
Right here.
I fell for you like a
4.
child.
1, 2, 3. Shoot. I blew it. I can't even make myself do it.
Oh,
There's an extra beat before the trumpets come in.
sweet.
Are you counting it in 4 or in 4, 3, 5?
When hearts like ours meet, I
One,
fell
two,
for you
three.
like a child.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
but the
It's
fire
weird. It's just an
wild.
extra beat, and you get that a lot in especially Johnny Cash's earlier stuff, where it was like, I feel like it's partially due to the recording method, where it's just like everybody's in a room cutting everything all at once, and they just do several takes of the same track and keep the best one, and lots of his like boom chicka boom kind of stuff is like that, where there'll be an extra beat here or there for whatever reason. I feel like it's just him taking his time or something like that. In that particular case, I don't know, but like stuff like A Boy Named Sue, and even I think in Folsom Prison Blues, there's a couple just spots where he'll take an extra beat somewhere. It feels like for no reason, and you can even hear it because in all this old music, the bass lines are always boom, 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 boom. Right? It's going 1 5 1 5, and you'll hear the bass player get upside down and have to correct themselves to catch where they should
Where
be.
it should be the root of it going
That's right.
1 5. It's going 5 1,
Yes.
and he's backwards.
And it's upside down, so they have to flip the note that they're playing or hang on to a note an extra beat, because he has either come in a beat early or a beat behind, whether on purpose or not. You know what I mean? But you follow Johnny.
Absolutely. It's his show.
Yeah. So when he sings the next line, you play the next line regardless of where he starts.
Yep.
And it just wasn't a thing where they were going back in and fixing stuff
and
like
it's
that.
not
yet.
like you can follow his hands because he's not
Right.
the most telegraphic of guitar players.
Yeah, yeah,
he can't cue
Very
you.
simple.
You just got to hear him. Hear him
yeah.
sing it.
And he exactly. He's just like, I'm going to stand here and sing the song and this band is going to play it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, and that's even in the early era, like blues, you get a lot of stuff like that where it's just like the guys would play their guitar and it would just be like a dude and his guitar and he's going, and when he's ready to sing the line, he'll sing it.
Exactly.
And it's not as neat and clean as it has become now. You know what I mean? If you listen to, especially like Robert Johnson and Blind Lemon, what's his name? I can't think of his last name. But anyway, there's a lot more of that kind of stuff. It's like an extra beat here or there, or something starts early, and it's just. It just had not become as formalized as it is now, and you just kind of sang when you were ready. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is a little bit of a holdover from that.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe Johnny just didn't care. Maybe he was like, I'll sing when I'm ready.
Or maybe he knows the count in his head.
It's true.
It's like, hey, this is a measure of 3. This is a measure of 5.
That's right.
I know it.
Yeah.
Learn it.
That's right.
Like, this is how we're going to do it.
Maybe, this is proto-prog rock.
This is Neil Peart on vocals.
That's right. So, yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Rhythmic stuff there.
I think it's a good segue into Meet the Band because I want to
Absolutely.
talk about Boom Chicka Boom and that kind of stuff here with the
do
guitar
it.
player.
Go for it.
There we go.
Hey, let's meet the band. It's time to meet the band. Hey, mama, let's meet the band. Let's all meet the band.
All right, we're going to meet the band. It's kind of tough because They list like 6 guitar players, multiple bass players on the vinyl, on the web, online. So I'm going to pick the ones that I am fairly confident actually played on the track. So verification will be up for dispute. Those of you Hendersonvillians that are listening are like, no way that he played that. I feel pretty confident on this, but here we're jumping in. On bass of the Tennessee 2, Marshall Garnett Grant, we'll talk about the Tennessee 2 here in a minute, because he did most of the Cash work in that time period, and the only other bass player credited was Buddy Clark, and live Cash plays with the Tennessee 2, and that is Marshall Garnett Grant with him. Big buddies with Luther Perkins, who we'll talk below about. Tennessee 2, which actually became the Tennessee 3. Actually, Perkins and Cash would just sit around and play 3 rhythm guitars. Like, they would just sit around, the 3 of them playing the rhythm guitars and write songs. When they sit around and play, I've watched videos, like, they're playing the same chords, the same parts, and everything. It's not like one's playing a different version of the chord. Like, everybody's playing an open G chord. Yeah. Everybody's playing the same version of the C.
Different era, right?
Yeah, it's like, you don't have to have a different voicing. Like, we're going to all 3 play exactly the same thing at the same time.
Now, if you've got multiple guitar players in a band context, one guy's playing.
If you're in E, somebody's going to capo it on the 2nd fret and play in D.
Yeah.
One guy's going to play open in E,
and then one guy's going to play just like lead lines up the neck.
Exactly.
Or that kind of thing.
High chord voicing, stuff like that. Yeah. Not these guys. They're like, no, it's this G chord. Like, it's open G. So then Grant picked up, not literally, but he took up upright bass. So he played an Epiphone upright bass, and then he added Fender and Epiphone electric basses to his bag of talents. And actually, he and Johnny ended up in court on embezzlement charges, but they worked it out. And in '99, he actually played bass with Cash for the last time. And he actually died in 2011, get this, at a festival to restore the childhood home of Johnny Cash. He died at the festival playing for this to raise money to restore the home of Cash. He's played by Larry Bagby in Walk the Line, and y'all will know Larry Bagby from such great films as Hocus Pocus and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, okay.
Look that guy up, Larry Bagby. So Marshall Garnett Grant on bass. On guitar, I'm fairly confident on this. I know it lists 6 guitar players, but it's got to be Luther Perkins. He's the other part of the Tennessee 2. And we know Cash did play some rhythm guitar on here, but Perkins is most likely the other guy. Although Jack Clement, Johnny Western, Roy Nichols, Billy Strange, and Norman Blake are all credited on here for playing. Pretty confident it was Luther Perkins on this. I kind of wish it was Norman Blake, as he did stuff with the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Joan Baez, and he helped.
Did you say Joe Biden?
Joan Baez.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Joe Biden. Yeah, no, he helped co-write the play "The Night They Drove All Dixie Down," and "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" But he's maybe a little bit more interesting character. But I like Perkins. Taught himself to play the guitar. Great story. He had a Fender Esquire guitar where the volume and tone knobs didn't work, so he'd have to mute the bottom 3 strings with his palm just because of all the noise and everything. So he basically muted the E, A, and D string, and thus led to his boom chicka boom sound. So that sound you get is because the guitar he had, the tone knobs and everything were all messed up. So he had to just mute that on with his palm mute, and that's why if you'll notice, he plays the top 3 strings a lot, and that's the style that actually helped shape Johnny Cash's sound.
Yeah.
So, and he's responsible for that. Best friend with Chris Christopherson, who I think I saw at the Red Rooster restaurant in Hendersonville. If that's you, please come up and say, hey, I am confident, I'm pretty confident it's you. Next time I'm going to raise up the courage to come up and say, are you Chris Christopherson? If you're not, play along.
Right. Yeah.
Also,
just sign something. Thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah.
And if you spell it with a C, we'll know.
Exactly.
Right? We'll know it wasn't you.
That's right. Christopherson. He is also buried in the Hendersonville Memorial Park Memory Gardens, which we'll talk about here a little bit later. He's played by Dan John Miller in Walk the Line, who's the producer of the White Stripes. So
really? That's
nice
interesting.
little tie in there. On drums, W.S. Holland. I'm putting him over the other 5 drummers that are listed on here because he was a member of the Tennessee 2, which became the Tennessee 3 with Luther Perkins and Marshall Garnett Grant. I wish it was Buddy Harmon, as he played on all kinds of stuff. He played on Crazy, Your Cheating Heart, Blue Moon of Kentucky. So I wish it was him, but I'm pretty confident it's W.S. Holland. And I found a site on Buddy Harmon that listed all those songs that he played, and Ring of Fire's not listed on there. And I'm pretty sure if he played on Ring of Fire, he would have listed it in that.
Gotcha.
W.S. Holland was also the first drummer on the Grand Ole Opry stage.
Nice.
He was also Carl Perkins.
Excuse me, that's Grand Ole
No
Opry.
D.
No
O-L-E.
D. It's O-L-E. Grand Ole Opry, if
right.
it had the accent, right?
He was also Carl Perkins' drummer, house band on Johnny Cash show. He was the drummer on the Johnny Cash show.
I'm just going to put this out there. I know we're not this kind of popular yet, but I want a variety show.
Yeah,
You
there
know?
you go. Come on our show.
Yeah.
Come dancing monkeys and freaking songs.
We got friends.
We got jugglers. We got magicians. We
Yeah.
got comedians. Hey, we've taken magicians' gigs at shows before.
Yeah,
they were like, "Oh, the magician can't make it. Let's enlist these guys."
Yeah, let's call these guys. I want a variety show.
I'm
Let's
in.
bring that back.
I'm in. Let's do it. We can bring that back. And W.S. Holland also played on Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes. We got to do an Elvis song.
Okay,
person.
speaking of Elvis, Blue Suede Shoes, do you know if Luther Perkins is related to Carl Perkins?
That would make
Elvis's-
sense. Carl Perkins is a drummer.
No. Carl Perkins is Elvis's guitar player.
That's right.
who
His
wrote
guitar
Blue
player.
Suede Shoes.
I'm saying W.S. Holland was Carl Perkins' drummer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, that came out wrong.
I got you. So I just wonder
I don't know.
if Luther, both guitar players, both same
Perkins.
era.
It's possible.
We should
have
maybe
looked that up. Did you ever eat at a Perkins restaurant?
I hate them.
Man, I liked them.
Yeah?
The old green sign.
Rivalry episode.
Oh, that's it. We're going to talk about Perkins.
Let's talk about Perkins.
Finally found something to argue over.
I'm taking Piccadilly.
That's
Give me Piccadilly.
man. Oh, that's pretty good.
We're talking
too.
about restaurants that old people love.
that are no longer around.
Yeah.
That you can't find them. That's funny. On piano, Bill Purcell. This guy's apparently still on staff at Belmont, which is just down the street. And I tried way too long to look him up with no contact. I called all over the place trying to find I would have loved to talk to Bill Purcell. But, mainly just to confirm who played on here, but no juice. He did stuff with Willie Nelson, J.J. Kell, Joan Baez, not to be confused with Joe Biden,
okay.
Dan Fogelberg. He has a book, Crooked River City, about life in Nashville.
Bet that's good.
Yeah, and I read through a lot of that book. I'm surprised now. The more that I think about it, maybe he didn't play on this because he talks a lot about Patsy Cline, and so I don't know. I figured he would have talked a lot more about Johnny Cash if he did a lot of stuff with him, but who knows? Trumpets. I'm 100% sure on this.
Okay.
I got the trumpets.
All right.
I know it's Bill McElhane, maybe pronounced McElhaney, and Carl Garvin. I'm 100% sure on that. So I can take that to the bank. Bill played with Ray Charles, Rory Orbison, and Floyd Kramer. So there you go. So there's some. We can go ahead and talk a little bit about Johnny if you want.
Yeah,
you want to save some of that?
Let's talk. Why don't we talk about the writers first, and then hit Johnny last?
Go for it.
So let's talk a bit first about June Carter Cash. She is a 5-time Grammy-winning songwriter and performer. She won in 1968 for Best Country and Western Performance Duet, Trio, or Group, and that would be the duet Jackson, as aforementioned, with Johnny Cash. She won in 1971 for If I Were a Carpenter, also a duet with Johnny.
Should we play a little of Jackson?
Yeah, heck
Let's
yeah.
play a little of Jackson, just
Dude.
for an excuse to play this song. Give the listeners a little musical break. I am going to Jackson.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I'm gonna mess around.
Easy.
Yeah, I'm going to Jackson. Look out, Jackson Town.
And there we go.
We'll go on.
There she is.
There she is, June.
Jackson, go ahead and wreck your hell. Go play your hand, you big talking man. Make a big fool of yourself.
All right. And we'll fade it out before we get to the Japanese slur. All right.
Good save on that one.
Okay.
Fluent and banjo and the auto harp.
Yeah. Fluent.
Fluent.
I like that word.
I don't know.
Proficient.
That's right.
Nah,
Proficient.
let's go fluent.
Let's go fluent.
Banjo is its own language.
It
Let's
is.
not kid ourselves.
Do you speak banjo?
I mean, not very well. I speak broken banjo, you know? She also won a Grammy in 2000 for the Best Traditional Folk Album for her album Press On, which came out in 1999. And then she won 2 posthumous Grammys in 2004. She passed away in 2003. She won Grammys in 2004 for Best Traditional Folk Album for the album Wildwood Flower, and for Best Female Country Vocal Performance for the single Keep on the Sunny Side from the album Wildwood Flower. So in 2004, June
Resurgence.
Carter Cash won Best Female Country Vocal Performance. She beat out Patty Loveless.
I was gonna say, who was in
Martina McBride,
Oh, man.
Dolly Parton, and Shania Twain. for that.
Man.
Would you like to hear the song that
Play
she
it.
won for.
Play it. Let's hear this
a little bit
magnificence.
of this. Is if you've ever seen "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" This is the song that they sing. This is "Keep on the Sunny Side" in there, and I'm going to play a little bit of it for you, and you tell me what you think.
Sounds like Wildwood Flower.
Well, there's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. But if you meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view.
Okay.
Hit the chorus, June.
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life.
All right, so there are a lot of things that you could call that vocal performance. There are a lot of words that you could use to describe it. You could call it authentic. You could call it folksy. You could call it rootsy.
Why didn't she take the cotton balls out of her mouth in the back of her throat?
You could even call it beautiful. I don't think you can call it best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could say
I like the rootsy thing. I think that's good.
It's the most authentic.
Raw? You
Yeah.
could use raw?
You could use raw. You could let's just say why not in 2004 just go, we're sad that you passed.
Yeah.
We want to honor you.
Yeah, you get a ribbon for most
most
legacy,
beloved. Yes.
legacy award.
Yeah.
Goes to this.
I think, no disrespect, right? June Carter Cash is a legend and she deserves all the praise.
Absolutely.
However,
what do you think Martina McBride and Shania are saying about that? Because that's their prom.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That's their peak. They only get so many chances to win.
I honestly think this one's for the girls.
It
was
might
that
be.
2004, 2003?
It might be.
I mean, come on, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's
I feel like Independence Day was also wrote about that time too.
Yeah.
Independence Day. Either way.
So anyway, I'm just
Maybe
saying
that's newer.
all love and due respect to June
Yeah.
Carter Cash. I don't think that particular Grammy was deserved. I'm already getting pelted with rocks.
Sure.
I can feel it.
We have a lot of Cash fans that are listening to this episode.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard that rendition or knew that fact. I've heard the song.
Sure.
But never put that together.
Yeah.
But you be the judge. Don't have to be critical. Just let us know. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean, it's beautiful in its own way. You know what I'm saying?
Everything is beautiful
I think
in its
maybe that categorization was a swing and a miss.
Okay.
I get they wanted to honor her. Everybody was sad. Johnny and June had both died.
Similar
you know what I'm
time,
saying? Like
right
they
there.
died within months of each other.
together.
Whatever.
They-
Okay.
Now, I do think she did get inducted into the Christian Music Hall of Fame
She
in
did.
2009.
Yeah.
Deserving. There we go. Well done.
And she is ranked number 31 in CMT's 40 Greatest Women in Country Music.
Impact,
Feels right?
absolutely.
Sure. I got no problem with that. It's only that one particular Grammy. I don't even mind. The best traditional folk album for that year, for that same album, great. Go for it. Run with that. That's perfect.
Yep.
I don't get the one. I need somebody to explain the one Grammy to me. She was married 3 times. She had 1 child from each marriage, all 3 of whom continued the family tradition of performing country music. She was a member of a famous traveling family. The Carter family was already a big deal before she was June Carter Cash. She was a big deal, right? As June Carter, that was a big deal on its own. So like totally independently of Johnny.
And they kept going ways after.
Sure. So her son that you may know is John Carter Cash. That's her son who he produced her. I believe he produced her last album. Is that correct? Or did he produce the last? I can't remember. Now I'm off of it. But you may know. She also had a daughter named Rosie Nix, and a name that I had forgotten, Carlene Smith. But you may remember her if you're a fan of 90s country music under her stage name, Carlene Carter. She smartly took the Carter name,
right,
even though by birth she was not a Carter. And she did this song.
You better believe I'm taking my family name Hendrix when I go back out on the road.
Right, J.P. Hendrix. Heck yeah, man. So Carlene Carter, she had this song from the 90s that was a big hit called I Fell in Love. Do you remember this song?
I don't know.
You will when I play it, and we're going to listen to this freaking guitar solo that I was reminded of that I was too young to appreciate when this song came out.
Okay.
I believe it is by Albert Lee, who is just a monster.
Yeah, there you
right?
go.
He was definitely in the video for this song.
And he doesn't seem like the kind that would just do video.
Right,
Like
yeah.
he wouldn't
so I believe
credit
he was
a solo.
in the band for this. So, yeah, this is a little bit of I Fell in Love by Carlene Carter.
Okay.
I bet you'll remember this chorus.
Hey, I hit town without a clue, minding my business like I always do. Just my luck around, smack into you.
Sounded like Mama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of charm that I can't resist. I figure what's a harm in a little bitty kiss or two.
Here it comes.
But I fell in love.
No? I love these vocals.
What you wanna do that for?
Well, I fell in love.
I've never heard this.
Really?
That's new to me.
What you wanna do that for?
I fell in love.
I love this song.
Took me by surprise, put me on the floor, right between the eyes with the 2x4. Just a little taste and I fell in love.
That's a Johnny Cash ending line, you know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to skip ahead to the guitar solo, okay? Let me fade it out for cleanliness.
It's a Ring of Fire way to do it. You start the
fell
chorus
in love.
with the title, and you end the chorus with the title.
True. All right, let's hear a little bit of this absolutely nasty. As country guitar solos go, they don't get better than this. Dude,
Telly.
come on now. Actually,
There's no way. That's a Telly. It's gotta be.
He plays a custom Music Man.
Okay.
Now, but I think in the I don't know. I'd have to go back and look in the video and see if I think by that time he was already using a custom Ernie Ball Music Man.
Really?
Yeah.
That would have never.
That is essentially Strat shaped
Okay.
with just a couple shaved edges. Yeah, Albert Lee, he's a monster, dude.
Yeah.
He's oh my goodness, using all these double stops. And that was really only the back half of the solo that I just
Good,
played.
man. That's tasty.
So good. A little bit more on June. She grew up traveling with the famed Carter family and eventually moved to Nashville with them. Interesting side note, the Carter family met Chet Atkins, world famous, the most famous, I'm going to say most famous, finger-style guitar player
Absolutely.
of all time, right? I mean, that's unquestioned. You know.
Great statue of him downtown Nashville. If you want to come take a picture with the Chet Atkins statue, I highly recommend it.
Plays, if you've ever seen Dave Matthews, usually, I don't know if he still does, but for a long time played a Chet Atkins model. It was an acoustic guitar, but it had no hole on it. If you remember that early era, Dave, I almost said Dave Barnes. I wonder why. Dave Matthews, he used that acoustic guitar. That was a Chet Atkins model. Anyway, Chet Atkins, monster guitar player, came from this era. So the Carter family met Chet Atkins while they were working from the Knoxville area, and then they started getting calls from the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville asking them to come perform, but with one caveat. They did not want them to bring along Chet Atkins.
What?
It's because he was black. Just kidding. Chet Atkins was not black. Why? Because studio musicians in Nashville had heard about how awesome Chet Atkins was, and they were afraid if he came to town that he was going to take all their first call gigs.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So eventually the Opry gave in, said they could bring Chet Atkins along, and
he took all their gigs.
Yeah, he did. Sure enough, and the Carters moved to Nashville with Chet in tow. So
That's awesome.
How about that?
That's cool. I didn't know that story. I like that.
She acted and danced as well as late as 1998 in the Robert Duvall movie, The Apostle. You remember that movie?
Absolutely, yeah.
And she and Johnny both were on like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman in the 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got that
they
on
played
here.
a couple. I looked up just some more of her songs because I didn't know a ton of her like solo stuff, you know what I mean? And I just found some amusing song titles, and I'm just going to read a few of them, okay? Some of her more amusing song titles included Root Hog or Die. That's ROOT, hog. Like, I don't know if that's an Arkansas Razorbacks thing. That's what it sounded like, Root Hog or Die. Yeah. Mommy's Real Peculiar. You Flopped When You Got Me Home, Overalls and Dungarees, and my favorite, No Swallering Place, which apparently was a hit. I've never heard it, and it just sounds... honestly, I don't think I want to know what it's about. I don't think I want to hear that song ever. No Swallering Place. What else? She was involved heavily in philanthropy and charity, particularly to an organization called SOS Children's Villages in Jamaica. And according to the director of that organization, he says it very literally that she made Jamaica a second home, and that was there so often that it was literally like a second home to her. She and Johnny both heavily involved in that. So.
Me and Rob all about some philanthropy. We love the giving back for free. Yeah. Kind of like we do this podcast for free.
This
is us giving back. This is our philanthropiness.
That's
careful. That's not a word. That's not a word. Oh man. Oh, that just about got PG-13. Oh yeah. Gotta take a break, Rob's struggling over there. I wish I could see his face. Yeah.
I'm dead. Oh my god.
That's the funniest thing I've heard in my life. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm going to recover from that. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Best of season 5. That's it. That's the one
done.
clip.
We're tapped.
Oh, man. Okay.
Covers?
Wait.
You still got stuff?
No, we still got to talk about two more people.
That's right. We got to talk about the writers still.
Oh, man.
Merle and Johnny.
Talk about Merle.
I'll talk a little bit
about Merle.
I don't have enough on Merle to stretch out through.
Okay.
I talked about he's also in the Hendersonville Memory Gardens. Mainly, we talked about him being Hank Williams Jr.'s guy. What do you got on Merle? You got I don't have much on Merle.
Yeah, he was I can't. Oh, I'm leaving all this in. This is all staying in the episode. Oh gosh. Merle Kilgore was the best man at Johnny and June's wedding.
Okay.
He passed away in 2005. He wrote or co-wrote hits for Claude King, Johnny Horton, and Tommy Rowe. It was just an earlier era of music.
I don't know any of those three.
I know the name Johnny Horton, couldn't tell you anything.
Didn't he hear a Who?
I think so. I think he did, yeah. Yeah, he did.
Johnny Horton hears a Who.
Yeah. He served on the CMA Board of Directors. He received the Legendary Songwriters Award from the North American Country Music Association in 1998, and he is a member of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. So that's a little bit about Merle Kilgore. He is actually buried next to Johnny and June. Like, he was, apparently that close that he's literally buried next to him with some big cowboy boots.
Yeah, boots around
for
the side.
flower holders. Mm-hmm. So,
they're
big
huge.
cowboy boots.
Yeah, the boots are taller than the tombstone. The
Yeah.
headstone, yeah.
Like, if you put on the boots, you'd have to be at least
7'5".
Oh, bigger than, like,
think
I'm
8,
thinking
10.
10, 12 feet
Yeah,
tall.
they come
to
up
wear these
to
boots.
about your knee-ish.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But,
Okay, let's move on to Johnny Cash.
Let's do it.
The Man in Black himself. Born, as we said, J.R. Cash, changed his name to John when he went into the Air Force.
Used to sing in church as a high tenor. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
High
changed
tenor.
like
When
high
he was
tenor.
8?
I guess. Yeah. And
Man.
then changed. Yeah.
He is a member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame. There's just so many jokes that I want to make, but can't in good taste
Yeah, you're
make.
good,
We're
man.
running a family show here.
Keep going.
And, oh, man. So just everybody, if you need to take a second and pause and just get all the jokes out
Yeah.
and then come back.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
all
All right.
good.
You guys say them. We can't say them.
That's right.
You guys can live your own lives, but we can't. We can't live your own lives. Sorry. Johnny.
Did die 4 months after June.
That's right. It's one of those deals where, you know, they say this, that like just people who are forever deeply in love, when one goes, the other can't bear to stick around. And it happens a lot. You know what I mean? When people get of age. Although, listen, he was not that old. He was 71 when he died.
Yeah, that's.
You know who's 71 right now?
No, don't. I'll be wanting them to, or watching for them to.
Sammy Hagar.
Shut up! Oh, dude, no way.
Yeah. You know what
I
I'm
didn't
saying?
realize he was that old. I guess he has been old for a while.
He's older than like the rest of the Van Halen guys, right?
Yeah.
He was in Montrose and stuff. You know, he was
Absolutely.
already so like
71.
so,
Sammy Hagar.
I'm pretty sure he might be 70, but I think he's actually
Man.
literally 71. Either way, right?
Still out there doing his thing,
it's
though.
Not
You
that
keep
old,
going.
right?
Keep
Exactly.
going, Sammy.
He's still out there kicking. But you know, back in the like Depression era, which Johnny grew up in, it was a different life. Was harder,
Yeah.
and people lived shorter, and he lived a difficult.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? He
I
had
don't
a
want to say
hard.
hard, but like he was like, hard
I
life.
mean, he was hard on himself.
Absolutely.
In addition to having had a hard life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just people got older faster back in the day.
Yeah, life on the road then is more taxing than life on the road now.
Sure.
Not just from a substance standpoint, but from travel,
Yeah.
from like
Right. There's-
arrangements, like
Yeah.
just
And it was just harder to take. It's easier to take care of yourself now than it was then.
no
So
essential oils.
It's just by the time he got to the end, he seemed very old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like his last few recordings and stuff, I mean, you could just hear it in his voice and the way he just looked very old. But he died at 71. That's not really old at all.
We touched a little bit on the Folsom Prison concert. Merle Haggard was actually an inmate in San Quentin, not in Folsom.
Folsom.
He gets credited a lot to be in Folsom, but he was there.
And Johnny Johnny was arrested, I think it said 7 times, and went to jail several times, but never stayed more than a night. He was never like imprisoned. You know what I mean? He has this kind of reputation, and he was definitely a rebel and and you know, kind of inspired what became like the punk attitude. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that came from Johnny Cash, and there's some very
The classic picture of him flipping off the camera.
Flipping off the camera, and you know, and he was booted from the Grand Ole Opry at one point because he took a mic stand and I think this may be in the movie too. I think there's a part in the movie that shows this where he took a mic stand and ran it across the row of front lights that shines up onto the performers from the floor and just took out all the lights with this thing in kind of a fit of. I don't know. I don't know if he was just being
Cashness.
cool, rebellious or whatever. And they literally like almost dragged him off the stage. Like they escorted him from the stage.
I heard different reasons on why he wore black. I heard he did it for the poor and hungry. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he and this is according to him. Let me check out my notes here. Basically, so originally he and some guys started wearing black because it was easier to keep clean, and they all had black shirts.
Okay,
right. But it became a thing for him. He took on the imagery of an all-black dressed performer as a tribute, he said, to the downtrodden. And it was a stark contrast also to kind of the rhinestone cowboy look of the day, you know, in country music, right? In late 60s, early 70s, it was, you know, big, bright, whatever. In 1971, he wrote a song as a manifesto called The Man in Black, including lyrical explanations for his, you know, kind of dress of choice to represent the poor, prisoners who had been, you know, kept in prison long after they had served, you know, what should have been a reasonable sentence.
Yeah.
People denied full lives because of addiction and stuff like that, and even sort of lost and ruined lives of the Vietnam War. You know what I mean? Which was that era, a lot of protest. And he had a lot to say about. He had a long history of writing songs about the plight of Native Americans. Big on his heart. He even had a full album called Bitter Tears. His record company didn't like it and pushed him to hold it back because, like we said earlier, we were still in the Western era, right? And so a lot of the Western songs of the day were staunchly about, you know, like white cowboys being awesome.
Cowboys and Indians are not. Everybody that's played Cowboys and Indians as a child,
right?
No, they're not best of friends.
Yeah, and
unless you're watching the Davy Crockett movie, and then it happens.
Yeah, and so he was denied press coverage and media help with these songs, and he even got told at one point by the head of the Country Music Association, "You and your crowd are just too intelligent to associate with plain country folks, country artists, and country DJs." And so Johnny Cash, being who he was, published an open letter as an ad, a full-page ad in Billboard magazine, shaming the music industry for
Wow.
cowardice.
Wow.
And basically said, "What's happened to you? You know what I mean? Where is your?" I don't know that I can say the word he probably used, but where are your guts?
There you
right? Go. Okay, and then eventually won some of that press coverage and media release. But the song, Drunken Ira Hayes, I think it's called The Ballad of Ira Hayes, actually.
Yeah.
Call him Drunken Ira Hayes, he won't answer anymore. Anyway, it's about a Native American guy who basically gets his life ruined by alcohol, but was literally one of the guys in Iwo Jima, the famous image of the soldiers hoisting the flag. Mm-hmm. One of those was Ira Hayes. Okay. And when he came back, his life is ravaged by alcohol addiction and all this stuff. And it's like,
it's like Rambo.
Yeah, exactly.
John Rambo.
Yeah. And so he's like, what about this guy? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What are we going to do about this hero that we put up in these memorials? You know what I mean? But we just let die in a gutter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Really close with Billy Graham and all the presidents in his lifetime. Probably the closest to Jimmy Carter because he was a distant relative of Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
which is
how about
pretty
that? Actually, I think June was a distant.
By marriage, however you phrase it.
I mean, I feel like if I was president, I would invite Johnny Cash.
Absolutely,
over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just because I want to be on his good side.
Who wouldn't want to be right? Yeah, no kidding. Who wouldn't want to be tight with Johnny Cash?
Johnny Cash, I know, right? I think that's cool. Also in the Highwaymen, this group. Let's talk about a super group.
Yeah,
Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson. Come on,
let's talk about it. Supergroup. I don't know if we've used the term supergroup before. We probably have at some point. But a supergroup is what happens
did we talk about it
when several people who are well known and well respected individually, right, kind of get together. We all know what a supergroup is, and they form something. And it's usually like a side project or something like that. But there have been some very famous ones. Can you think of any off the top of your head? I wrote down a few.
Velvet Revolver.
Velvet Revolver is a great one. Mm-hmm. Velvet Revolver combined Slash from Guns N' Roses, Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots. I think somebody else from Guns N' Roses. Have two members of Guns N' Roses?
Duff
McKagan on bass, yeah. You think about another sort of in this genre would be maybe the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, George Harrison.
Yeah. The Traveling Wilburys. I think that's it. I think it was just the four of them. Yeah, that's as far as like name recognition. Those might be the top ones.
We left one.
Wilbury?
Yes, absolutely. ELO guy, Jeff Lynne.
Oh, Jeff. Okay. Oh, that's right. You're totally right. We've talked about that in a previous episode. Yeah.
He actually played guitar. Tom Petty played bass.
There you go. Okay.
I learned that this week.
So yeah, that's you had like Temple of the Dog, which was
that's good.
Pearl Jam and Soundgarden
I forgot about
combined. One of my favorites, Chickenfoot.
Oh,
right?
There we go.
We love Chickenfoot. So
We've
Chickenfoot is
Joe Satriani
on guitar, Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony
from Van Halen.
From Van Halen. And originally Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Now Kenny Aronoff,
yeah. So who's famous session drummer and that kind of thing. And then Sammy Hagar's kind of done that a couple times now. Now he's got the Circle with Jason Bonham on drums, and it's a whole other. But you had the newer one is the Hollywood Vampires with Alice Cooper and Johnny Depp, and then sort of a rotating cast, I think, around them.
What was the one that the guy from Rage did?
Audio Slave, right?
Yeah.
So that was Rage Against the Machine minus Zach De La Rocca plus Chris Cornell from Soundgarden, which kaboom!
Yeah, Audio Slave. That's what I'm
amazing. Love me some Audio Slave. How about Blind Faith?
There we go. Clapton-like.
Clapton,
Steve Winwood.
Yeah,
and
Ginger Baker, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. So not bad there. Anyway, Mr. Big, the list goes on, right? There's just, supergroups are cool. Sometimes they work.
Bad English.
Bad English.
Oh, yes. Neil Sean.
Yeah.
There you go, guys.
How about that? So anyway, let's see. Let's go more on Johnny. Johnny was a published novelist. Did you know this? In 1986, he published a novel about the Apostle Paul called The Man in White.
Oh, tasty.
Yeah. And it was about Paul's, I think it followed the Apostle Paul on like a 6-year kind of period of his life, you know what I mean? Sort of fictionalized, what ifs, So yeah. There's also, let me see, I'm going to try and pull this up. There's also a full recording of the New Testament by
Read
Johnny
by
Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Read by Johnny Cash. If you've never heard the Bible read by Johnny Cash, you're going to want to after this. Hang
Who
on.
have you heard the Bible read by while you're looking that up? Like famous readers.
Mostly me.
Okay.
I don't know about
Has
full-
James Earl Jones ever read the Bible?
Surely.
to goodness
There are a
he's smart
couple
enough.
of like dramatized.
Charlton Heston,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
sure, has
Charlton
done
Heston. I actually believe there's a version in which now he doesn't read the whole thing. It's a casted kind of thing, but I believe there's a version in which Samuel L. Jackson
The
participates.
man.
Gospel according to John, chapter 1.
Got to pick John.
Come on.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him
I guess he's
nothing
going
was made
NIV.
that was made.
In him
In
was
him
light.
was
Yeah.
light.
I think it's actually the
And
New
the
King
light
James
was the
version,
light of
maybe?
men.
Yeah.
And the light shines in the darkness,
And the darkness.
and the darkness did not
I
comprehend.
like the way he says darkness.
Darkness. I feel like if you're over 60, you should just get that in the mail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
like,
awesome. It comes with your Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your Reader's Digest, your
Here's
free
your-
sample of National Geographic.
That's right. Your AARP packet includes
packet.
all this.
Old Farmer's Almanac,
Yeah.
and Johnny Cash reads the New Testament.
Yeah,
That's so
absolutely.
good. Oh,
Like-
no, it's just like Johnny Cash reads the book of John, but if you send in,
Yeah.
your $9.99 a month,
That's
you
it.
can have him get the whole.
Absolutely
You get
right.
Matthew.
Yes.
And then if you, each month you could get.
That's right.
I mean, it
it's
gets
like the Time Life books.
It gets to 3rd John, you're like, nah.
I'm good. I'm not sure I want to hear Johnny Cash read Revelation.
Yeah, no.
Actually, no.
I do.
I do want to
Yeah,
hear Johnny
absolutely,
Cash read
absolutely.
Revelation. Yeah. There's what's the song from this actually translates perfectly into the next thing because one of my favorite periods of his career is the American recordings with Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
And they were relatively and sometimes very raw recordings of mostly contemporary songs. He did like Hurt by Nine Inch Nails,
yep.
Hung My Head by Sting,
Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode. Some older stuff, but and some of that stuff was just fantastic. It was very, his vocals and almost all of it were very upfront, like very in your face, and just you heard all the age in his voice, all the cracks, and it was, some of it was just not super pretty, but man was it gritty, and man did it feel, just it had a lot of. It pulled a lot of emotion out of you. He was not being very emotional in most of it. He just kind of delivered it, but it made you go, God, this is a legend at the end.
Yeah, it's dark. Like, it's dark. He's down.
Yeah. And one of the really cool recordings from that, he actually quotes from the book of Revelation. I believe it's at the end of it. Let me find it. It's called When the Man Comes Around, which was the title of one of the...
While you're looking for that, and we're talking about covers that he did, one of my favorite covers of somebody doing a Johnny Cash song is Dave Matthews doing Long Black Veil on Listener Supported.
Oh, that's solid.
That's really
Yeah.
good. So.
Yeah, this is The Man Comes Around from American 4, which was subtitled The Man Comes Around.
And I heard, as it were,
Oh, man, yeah.
the noise of thunder. One of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse.
Listen to how up front he is.
There's a man going round taking names,
Put me where in the mix?
and he decides who to free and who to blame.
I'm just going to let this play through to the end of the chorus.
Everybody won't be treated all the same. There'll be a golden ladder reaching down when the man comes around.
Anyway, it's so cool.
The hair.
And then he quotes another passage at the end, the thing about, and hell followed with them, the last horse was death, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, very cool. You definitely want to hear Johnny Cash read the Bible. Go check it out. It's actually on YouTube for free. If you go to Johnny Cash's YouTube channel, it's got, I don't know if the whole thing is free, but they had like John chapter by chapter, which is really cool.
Covers, you want to do that? Or do you want to save covers for the end and do the...
Nope, that's it. I'm ready for some notes and covers. Let's do it.
Perfect. Covers, Eric Burden and the Animals. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that was a pretty popular one, it turned out.
Wall of Voodoo did one. Dwight Yoakam did one. Obviously, Dwight Yoakam did one.
Obviously.
Social Distortion. Olivia Newton-John did one. That's pretty good.
That's weird.
We got to listen to the Dragon Force one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're due for For a
Ready?
cover,
Let's do it.
Let's just jump right in.
This is Ring of Fire by Drag. If you don't know Dragon Force, they're the ones that did the Impossible song at the end of Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
What was it called? I can't remember. The title escapes me at the moment. This is like power metal.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Here's Ring of Fire by Dragon Force.
Yes.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by a wild desire, and I fell right into a great ring of fire. And I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down.
There you go. Yeah. Dragon Force.
Dragon Force. Out there with the force of dragons.
That's right.
A few notes. The low note in this song is interesting to me. Johnny Cash has a, kind of a low baritone, bassy voice. And so I just wanted to know what this low note was when he goes, and it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. Of is the low note, right? Yeah, okay. The ring of, because it goes one half step below the root note, right? That's an F sharp 2, which means if you look at a piano keyboard, it is the second lowest F sharp on an 88 key piano. Yeah, okay, to put that in perspective, the low note in Barry White's Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Baby. The low note in that song, Barry White famously with a low voice, is an F3, which means...
So it's a whole octave.
It's almost a full octave below Barry White's lowest note on Can't Get Enough of Your Love. Just to put that in perspective.
One note off.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
that's low.
It's low. And it's not the lowest note he sings. Immediately I think of I Walk the Line. I think he goes down to a C2, which is a tritone below this F sharp 2.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, that's low. Yeah. That's low. So anyway, this is interesting. This is from Wikipedia. In June 1965, Johnny Cash's camper caught fire during a fishing trip with his nephew in Los Padres National Forest in California, triggering a forest fire that burned several hundred acres and nearly caused his death. I don't know if his is referring to him or his nephew in that sentence. Cash claimed that the fire was caused by sparks from a defective exhaust system on his camper, but his nephew thinks that Cash started a fire to stay warm and in his drugged condition failed to notice the fire getting out of control. When the judge asked Johnny Cash why he did it, Cash said, "I didn't do it. My truck did, and it's dead, so you can't question it."
That's good.
Come on, that's classic. Johnny Cash.
That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen. Man, that's about all I've got. You got anything else on Johnny we need to know?
Man, it's good to be back, guys. We're so glad to be back.
Dude.
Thanks for hanging with us, everyone. Thank you out there in countries around the world that we've never been to. We found out this week we're number 1 in Papua New Guinea.
Come on.
Pretty excited about that. To shout out to you guys out there
Shouts
in Papua
out
New
to
Guinea.
all you.
Thanks
we were number 6 in Papua New Guinea of all podcasts. Yeah. Not just music, not just our category, all the podcasts.
And that's not us tooting our horn. That's us saying thank you for the support.
Thank you for tooting our horn.
That's right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. It's nice to be popular in other parts of this globe.
Yeah, season 5. Let's go.
Season 5.
Let's do it. We'll be back next week with something phenomenal. Listen, hit up our groups online. We have a lot of fun over at facebook.com/groups/greatsongpod, or you can just search for great songs and the great people who love them greatly. Hit us up on Twitter at GreatSongPod, Instagram at GreatSongPod, or hit us up online at the website at GreatSongPodcast.com. We've got shirts and some merch over there that you can do. But join us on the Facebook group. We're posting almost daily in the Facebook group. We have a great community going on. We give away prizes every now and then.
And we know y'all that love math. This is number 99.
That's right.
So you know what next week is.
Boom.
It's one more than 99, which is 100. That's a landmark.
100th episode. And let me just tell you guys, we got to do something really, really special for the 100th episode. We had our fingers crossed that we were going to be able to pull something off. And it just kind of fell into our lap, a magical situation. So
listen.
Let's go ahead and tell.
Nah.
No?
Nah.
All right.
We'll tease it.
Okay.
We'll tease it.
All right.
Just come hang out with us next week. You guys you'll have fun. We had fun.
It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. So thank you guys for sticking with us for 99 episodes. We got 99 problems.
But listenership is not one.
There we go. We'll see you next week with another episode of the Great Song Podcast. Until then, I'm Rob.
I am JP.
Go listen to some music.